Hi, my name is Misha Alexeeff, and I'm going to be taking you through a little bit of logic games. We're going to be using PrepTest 36, which if you took a Kaplan practice test, was the practice test. We'll be looking at section 5, the first game. However, if you have not taken the Kaplan practice test, we'll absolutely have some slides and subtitles to make sure that you get the idea of what's going on. Great. Okay, so a little bit of intro. I have been teaching the LSAT for over 5 years. It is wonderful. And one of the reasons why it's so wonderful is because of logic games. Logic games are probably the best thing ever invented, and I think science has conclusively proven this, at least in my head anyway. So we're going to be pretty excited here, so please don't let my enthusiasm distract you. All right, so first things first. The key thing with any game is understanding how to translate both the scenario and the rules. Okay? Now, in a case such as this one, if we read along in your booklet or read along with the screen, we see that our setup is the fruit stand carries at least one kind of the following kinds of fruit. Figs, so we have an F, kiwis, oranges, pears, tangerines, or watermelons. The LSAT is kind enough to make sure that all of its entities have different first letters, so that certainly makes life better. All right. The stand does not carry any other kind of fruit, okay, so it's these 6 or nothing else. And the selection of the fruit the stand carries is consistent with the following conditions. All right, so cool. We have our 6 fruit. Now, one thing we may notice, at least one. So you have to carry one kind, but there's no other constrictions. So as it stands right now, we could have as many as 6. However, that's likely to change because we'll see it in the rules. Our first rule, we see if the stand carries kiwis, then it does not carry pears. Okay, if kiwis, no pears. Now you may notice below this, I have pears, no kiwis, okay? And that's what's called the contrapositive. All the contrapositive is a second true statement, which every if-then statement has 2 true things about it at minimum. Some more entities, more truths, but we'll save that for later. The key thing here is we note that presence of kiwis means absence of pears, presence of pears means absence of kiwis. Bottom line, you can never have kiwis and pears together. Let's take a look at our next one. We notice here that we have no tangerines means yes kiwis, and no kiwis means yes tangerines in our contrapositive. Let's say that you are a fruit stand owner and you are governed under these, potentially bizarre rules. All right, let's say you say, all right, smart guy, I'm going to have no tangerines and no kiwis. Well, the nerve of you, sir, the nerve of you, or ma'am. But let's see why your nerve is also going to be problematic. Let's say you're saying, I'm going to have no tangerines and no kiwis. Well, if no kiwis and no tangerines, then, kiwis and tangerines. Well, so basically what's going to happen is that, your fruit stand is going to be enveloped into a massive space vacuum, and it's just going to be a massive tragedy. So the key idea here, though, is that because of this rule, you must have at least kiwis or tangerines or both in every possible scenario. All right, so the cool thing here, and we're doing things a little out of order to save time, let's look at question number 2 if you have your booklet. If not, we'll have it up on the screen for you. Which one of the following could be the only kind of fruit the stand carries? All right, well, because of this rule, it must be either kiwis or tangerines, because the absence of both of them would cause a problem. So if we look at our answer choices, we notice that we have tangerines as answer choice D. That's our correct answer choice. No more work needed. We're right on number 2. We can move on. And you may notice that kiwis are absent because it wouldn't be fair to have 2 right answers. You will never have 2 right answers. Now let's talk about number 3. And we see which one of the following cannot be a complete and accurate list of the kinds of fruit the stand carries. Well, looking back here, we may notice that we have kiwis and pears don't get along. We know kiwis and pears don't get along. It's the easiest thing for us to find both kiwis and pears in an answer choice. Looking at number 3, we see that A has just kiwis and tangerines together, not a problem. B, tangerines, watermelons, not worth worrying about. C, figs, kiwis, watermelons, not an issue. D, oranges, pears, tangerines, and watermelons. Okay, we don't really need to worry about that yet. And finally with E, we notice that we have figs, kiwis, oranges, pears, and watermelons. The simple fact that we have kiwis and pears in answer choice E makes it correct because what we're looking for is something that could not be true. All right, great. Now, the important part here, all we've done is translated 2 of the 4 rules and shown that we can answer questions simply on the basis of those. If we were to look at our remaining rules, which are Rule 3, if the stand carries oranges, then it carries both pears and watermelons, and we can see that over here, okay? And then also, if watermelons, then figs or tangerines, or figs and tangerines. Great. Now, ultimately, what you're going to want to have is a really, really amazing, usable, cohesive sketch. So let's take a look at what that would look like. Now, you're probably shocked by the beauty of this sketch right now. But take a moment and just rub your eyes or what have you. But the important part here is it's very functional. The idea basically becomes, if you have oranges, then you must have pears and watermelons, you must not have kiwis, and you must have tangerines. Because tangerines would be present in the case of oranges, that would satisfy our watermelon requirement. And figs would be the only question mark. You could have figs if you feel so inclined, but you don't have to have them. Meanwhile, the other thing that would happen is, let's say that you had yes on kiwis. Now, the way that would work in a sketch such as this one is yes on kiwis would then reverse everything to the left. We saw that yes on oranges, as written, moves everything to the right. If anything is the opposite of written, if any given is the opposite of how it's written, it would move everything to the left and change everything to its left, while not affecting anything to its right. So, yes on kiwis, okay? No on pears, no on oranges. So pretty cool. We could talk about how to use this for quite some time, but we don't have much time, so let's just cut it short there. If you want to write this down and kind of talk about how to put it together, great. All right, well, I certainly hope this has been informative. You're going to see my email address on the screen right now. Please feel free to email me, okay? I love talking about the LSAT. I work here full-time. I'm more than happy to answer any further questions about this game if you've taken the practice test or otherwise. Also, we're happy to administer practice tests. We're happy to consult people on what a legitimate, reasonable goal is for you. Again, I'm one of 3 full-time LSAT instructors here at Kaplan Berkeley. I've been teaching the test for 5 years, and I've scored a 180 on an LSAT, so I am just wild about the test. It's kind of frightening how frequently I talk about it. I kind of weird people out with just how wonderful it is. Anyway, I hope this has been informative, and best of luck on your studies.